Architects, the most important insurance that you can get is a professional liability insurance policy for your firm, or often called E&O insurance. It's the primary defense that you have against allegations made against you regarding your work. If you've ever been in a professional liability lawsuit before, you know what a massive undertaking it can be once you add up the time it takes out of your day, the legal defense costs, all the depositions, and that's if no mistake was even made. If you made a mistake, then you have to worry about rectifying the situation and dealing with the judgments against your firm. The courts attempting to understand and find out who is at fault for a profession as complex as yours is a long and burdensome process, since you have to explain yourself to non-architects, and that requires huge resources. Insurance can give you a peace of mind and keep your business running smoothly if the situation were to ever arise. In this video, we're going to review an architect policy top to bottom so that you know what to look for, and also to give you a lot of examples on what this coverage actually costs. Professional liability is not like many other insurance policies. Each quote is going to be dramatically different from each other, and there isn't an industry standard policy. When you're comparing, make sure to understand the differences between the policy and the insurance companies providing the quote. You need to first understand your insurance company's commitment to the design professional industry. You can find this out by asking some questions about how long have they been around? Is this a specialty of yours? Is this product stable and can be relied on year after year? Is this managed by an intermediary, or is the actual insurance company underwriting this coverage and committed to the product? Next, ask, is the insurance company reputable and in good financial health? Unlike other insurance lines, this is not a coverage that you want to move around to different carriers often. This is due to its claims-made form, which incentivizes long-term carrier relationships for no gaps in your coverage. You want to partner with a carrier that has excellent financials to pay your claims. The third thing to consider is, does the carrier offer higher limits if you start getting larger projects? Many carriers in this space can offer up to $5 million if the situation warrants. Others can go up to $10 million. I've seen a lot of architects get with a carrier that only offers $1 or $2 million in limits, then get in trouble when they bid a job that requires higher limits. And lastly, ask yourself, is the carrier that I'm insured with the best overall package, or was it just the easiest to get a quote online? Since this insurance policy involves your reputation and is your largest exposure, just make sure you don't choose solely based on convenience, and that you look at the entire details, such as the endorsements, the exclusions, and what coverages are provided. So let's dive into the policy. Here's a policy for an architectural firm that we wrote. It is by the Hartford, which is a carrier that we really like and offers a solid professional liability product. The first place we go when looking at any professional liability policy is straight to the insuring agreement here, where you will find what the insurer is agreeing to cover. The most important coverage here is the professional liability section, and it states, the insurer shall pay a loss that an insured becomes legally obligated to pay as a result of a claim made against the insured for a wrongful act arising out of the performance of professional services. This is a pretty standard insurance clause, but the bolded words indicate that there is a definition in the policy that defines what the word actually means, and this is where you'll find out what the policy actually covers. In this, you'll find the most important definitions and what you should find out. Specifically, what is a wrongful act, and what are the services included under professional services. First, we go to the definition section of wrongful act. And this says, wrongful act means an actual or alleged act, error, or omission in the performance of, or the failure to perform professional services committed to, or alleged to have been committed by an insured or by any entity or person of whom the insured is legally liable. This is a pretty broad definition, and we won't go into some of these additional definitions that you'll find in that definition, but you should read them on your policy. This policy covers any actual or alleged act, error, or omission in the performance of, or the failure to perform professional services that you are legally liable for. Now, what professional services are covered? If we go back to the definition section, we'll find that professional services means services performed by an insured or others in the insured's practice as 1. An architect, engineer, land surveyor, landscape architect, construction manager, space planner, land planner, interior designer, scientist, technical consultant, or expert witness professional, and also a member of a formal accreditation, standards review, or other professional board or committee for the design professional profession. So, in order to get coverage under the policy, you must be a licensed or accredited design professional performing the practice that you are licensed in. So now we can put these two definitions together. You will be covered for any actual or alleged act, error, or omission while performing the professional services that you are licensed for, that you are legally liable to pay for, i.e. a licensed architect providing architectural services. Now we can go into the exclusion section to figure out what situations that insuring agreement does not apply to. Think of it this way, the insurance agreement or the insuring agreement is a very broad statement that the policy covers this broad statement. Then the exclusions later on in the policy carve out specific situations which don't apply to the insuring agreement that we just read. This exclusion section is pretty standard, so we're going to keep scrolling to the exclusion endorsements lower on in the policy where most of the worst offenders typically live on these type of policies. The first being a construction and site safety exclusion endorsement. The policy will not cover construction site safety issues. If your services include construction safety precautions and safety procedures, probably not the best policy for you. If we keep scrolling down a little bit, you'll see a list of professional services that the policy will not cover. These are generally high-risk activities that you would need a higher risk carrier to insure. In the same theme, here's a list of the type of projects that are also excluded from the policy. These are also higher hazard projects that require higher hazard insurance companies. Write these lists down and make sure nobody at your firm does this type of work that your professional liability policy excludes, or make a conscious decision to take the risk. Just don't fly blind on this. You need to do this type of review when you purchase an insurance policy. It is critically important. It is also something I can walk you through as well if you are looking for an agent. The primary professional liability limit that we just reviewed is the single most important insurance coverage that architect firms will buy. Aside from reviewing your policy for coverages, getting a policy at a fair price is very key as well. Here are some examples of pricing for architects' professional liability policies across the country with revenue ranges up to $1 million per year. After that, pricing tends to be more based on the individual company and what type of work they're doing, but you get the idea of how this coverage scales up to larger companies and small companies alike. Below is a checklist that you can download that'll show you what coverages are available in the market and how important each one of them are to make sure that your quote includes all the coverages that you need and expect. Having this list will help you have more meaningful conversations with your insurance professionals that you talk to and ensure that your professional liability policy is one that you can rely on to protect your firm. If you're looking for a professional liability insurance provider for your architecture firm, we would love to help you get this worked out, and we can review your different options in the same way that this video did, except with your quote specifically.